Scott Presler has become iconic among Republican circles, standing over 6 feet tall with long brown hair, a flowing, beautiful brown hair. People have taken notice because he's, one, been an outspoken Trump supporter, but also because he's done the really hard work of registering new voters. He runs the nonprofit Early Vote Action, intending to register voters and get Republicans to vote early, which would be wonderful. Scott, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thank you, Ryan. Well, we delivered Pennsylvania last year, and this year we are headed to the Garden State.
Yeah, the episode's all about New Jersey. So I want to know before we get started, people have known you for going out and registering voters and writing letters before that. I remember when you used to write letters thanking people to vote for voting for Trump. This is back in like 2017. How did you get started in politics? And was this always your ambition to work in politics?
No, I never thought I would be doing this life. I graduated from college. I couldn't find a job despite graduating with a 3.63 in criminal justice. But this was under Obama. The economy was terrible. It was hard for millennials to find their place in society. And so, as I'm walking dogs for a living, as I'm working at an elementary school, which were not my passions, but I understand that those are good integral parts of our society, I went, gosh, we can continue on this direction with President Obama, or I can be a cog in the machine and I can try to change society for the better. And so in 2014, I moved to Texas. That's why I always have cowboy boots. And my first political job ever was helping to elect now Governor Greg Abbott down in Galveston, Texas. And so for me, it's really been over the last decade a political evolution of going from starting with Governor Abbott to defeating Hillary Clinton in 2016 to protect the Supreme Court, to doing trash pickups in
I
2019,
remember those.
inspired by President Trump. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm really, I think, seen as one of the voter registration gurus on the right that has become a political strategist for the Republican Party.
Yeah, Scott, you're one of the people that I can kind of relate to the most in the sense of like you have an idea and you put the wheels behind it and you just make it happen. There's really no fixed, job. Like you probably don't know what you're going to be in 5 years. But if your brain thinks of something worth running towards, you could probably do it. It's a very unusual like
Thank you.
life, and there's not many people I know who kind of have it. So just thought of that. So what you do is not easy, and I've seen you give a lot of seminars and speeches. You kind of spurred this like voter registration grassroots effort, right? How is that? How did that come about, and what is that like now?
So going into 2018, I was working for a not-for-profit that I couldn't be political. And I want to make it clear, Early Vote Action, respectfully, is a political action committee. We're a PAC. So we can take unlimited contributions, but we are not tax deductible. And that's earlyvoteaction.com. So I just want to make that clear.
No, it's important. It's important.
I knew that 2018 had the potential to be really bad for the president. You know, the Democrats kept saying over and over that Hillary won the popular vote. And, that was the Me Too movement. And it was the year of being a woman. And I was like, gosh, 2018 is going to be so bad. So a month before the election, I was like, okay, I need to quit my job. I'm going to do everything I can, travel to Florida, New Jersey, all over, and try to keep members of Congress in those seats. Now, ultimately, we lost it. And so going into 2019 was a regrouping period for me. And I was like, Scott, you have no job. You quit. Scott, the Republican Party right now just lost big time. What are we going to do to shake things up? And I just had this idea pop into my head, kind of like what you said just a moment ago. And I went, you're going to travel the country and you're going to teach people how to register to vote, because even the Republican Party is not doing the grassroots organizing required in order to win elections. My first event, Ryan, was in Connecticut, where they have more cows than people over in that state. And my first event, and I think it was Danbury, we got protested because I think the Democrats knew, wow, this guy, if we don't stop him now, is going to become an organizer within the Republican Party. And despite the fact that they protested us, we had more than double, perhaps triple the amount of attendees. And I literally just started going across the country from Connecticut to Fuquay Varina, North Carolina, down to Sarasota, Florida. And each event I did gathered more attendees, got bigger. My social media profile grew, and people went, wow, this guy is getting stuff done. And so I spent 2019 through 2022 all on my lonesome, organizing, traveling probably 40 plus states across the country, teaching people how to register other people to vote.
Yeah, it was really inspiring. First of all, I think I'm going to start talking about myself in third person when I'm having internal conversations like you. I think that would be really good for me. But two, no, it was you. I don't even know what year we met, but I saw the growth happen, and I saw the growth happen very quickly because it is very hard work, and it's something that is not sexy and it's not glamorous, and most people don't want to do it because there are easier, sexier, glamorous things to do. When we talked, we spoke in 2024, 2023, whatever. I mentioned to you that there were 44 million non-college educated white Americans who were not registered to vote, and like
Yes.
2.8 million were in Pennsylvania. What did you notice in Pennsylvania that other people didn't? Like, how did you even find how to have non-registered people?
Well, I am very much a data guy and mathematical. And so here's how I approach elections. I went, gosh, Joe Biden, quote unquote, won Pennsylvania by 80,000 votes in 2020. And I went, okay, how are we going to recoup those 80,000 voters and turn those into Republicans? And so I went, as opposed to conversion and persuasion, which are important, don't get me wrong, we need to be in the business of courting Democrat voters. But ultimately, there are so many Republicans that are not registered to vote. 80,000 truckers in Pennsylvania. I would assume logically the majority of those are going to be conservatives. My organization is Early Vote Action. So I went, okay, a trucker is probably not voting because that person is busy serving us and they're probably driving rigs on election day. Let's get them a mail-in ballot. Let's get them to vote early and lock in those 80,000 votes. Then we have the Amish community over, especially in the hub of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Now, this community, let's be real, Governor Shapiro, a Democrat, has been attacking, waging a war on their raw milk, their dairy, their farming. Then you have society as a whole, which is coming down on their bodily autonomy to choose not to have a vaccine put into their children and their families. And then you have the government coming down on their religious freedom and their school choice, and it just clicked. And I said, why are we not making a real concerted effort to register the Amish to vote?
Right.
Knowing, Ryan, that they get married on Tuesdays in November. Y'all, what happens on Tuesdays in November? Election day. Let's get the Amish a mail-in ballot. Let's get
Wait,
them
they
to
only
vote
get
early.
married on Tuesday, November?
They get married largely on Tuesdays in November. Yes.
I never knew that before. Okay, that's fascinating. All right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, no, no. And it was like a full circle moment because this was like a week prior to the 2024 deadline to register to vote. And we're over in Lancaster at an Amish benefit. And this Amish woman comes up to check her status because she can't do it herself online. So we did it for her. She wasn't registered. They removed her. So we got her registered and she goes, oh, you know what? I better get myself a mail-in ballot. I'm going to 3 weddings on election day. And it just went, it was like an aha moment that what I had been practicing in the field had been coming to fruition. And we used mail-in ballots to deliver President Trump the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Then we have 800,000 veterans in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is the 4th largest home to veterans in the entire nation. So we went to every VFW, we went to every American Legion, and you would be shocked by the amount of veterans that tell me, Scott, I already served our country. I already did my part. I don't have to vote. because I already stopped communism overseas. And so, really, that's where I come in, and we have to court them and say, listen, thank you so much for your service. We're so grateful for your sacrifice. But communism is here domestically, it's on our shores. And this is something we must be continuously vigilant by voting here in our country. And last, and probably the most important, and you'll notice all of these groups, what were you talking about with the forgotten men in American people, the white working class? Well, if you look at the demographics, I would assume that a lot of truckers are of that group. The Amish are of that group. Veterans are of that group. And last, hunters.
Mhm.
930,000 hunters in Pennsylvania. 30%, 30, are not registered to vote. That's 300,000 votes. That is game over. That is the election. We went to every gun shop, every gun show. And I do believe that our work at Early Vote Action, registering 50,000 voters, helped to deliver the Commonwealth and two congressional seats, Ryan McKenzie and Bresnahan, protecting Scott
Pennsylvania
Perry.
7 and 8, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
7 and 8, and then protecting Scott Perry in 10th
So 10.
district over in York, Adams, Dauphin. And then last, the most important thing that we helped deliver as a family was Senator Dave McCormick.
Right. I mean, his election was very, very tight. So yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Going back to New Jersey, in 2021, Phil Murphy, the governor, won by 84,294 votes. That was his margin of victory, over Jack Ciattarelli. The Republicans since then have 107,000 new voters, and Democrats have lost 128,000 voters. There's clearly momentum for Republicans in the Garden State. What is your goal then going forwards? Is how many you want to register to vote in the next, I guess, 7 months or whatever it is, 6 months?
Sure. Well, it's kind of fortuitous that I would be heading to New Jersey, a state that was lost by approximately 80,000 votes in 2021, after helping to deliver Pennsylvania, another Commonwealth that was decided by 80,000 votes. And so my feeling in this race is, as you just mentioned, the numbers are already moving in our direction. Republicans have gained, Democrats have lost. And in fact, if you have been looking at the data, in the month of January, Democrats lost 2,000 voters statewide. Republicans gained 10,000 in January. Then the Secretary of State did a purge in the month of February. The Democrats lost 87,000 voters, Republicans lost 37,000 voters, for a net loss for Democrats of 49,000 voters. So when you take that 2021 was decided by 80,000 and the Democrats are already down approximately 59,000, that shows me, listen, my New Jersey people that are listening right now, if we get every single Trump voter out to vote this year on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, you will replace Democrat Governor Murphy with a Republican governor, period,
Now,
Mike.
you do amazing work. Is the RNC doing anything to help you?
I will say, I want to give a shout out. So here is a departure, and look, I'm not here to be antagonistic. That's not my goal. I'm a nice guy. Let's just say the previous administration did not invest in 2021 in New Jersey. However, you know what's already happened, Ryan? In February, just a week ago, Chairman Michael Whatley was at an event in New Jersey. Casey Crosby, the co-chair that replaced Laura Trump, is doing an event with me on March 13th with Chairman Carlos Santos in Union County, New Jersey. And I know we're talking New Jersey right now, but this is important. You know what's happening on April 1st? There's a Wisconsin Supreme Court election that is going to decide which party controls the Supreme Court going into 2028. Casey Crosby, that beautiful co-chair that we have of the RNC, she is already coming to Wisconsin, something that the RNC didn't do in 2023 when we lost the Supreme Court. So this new RNC is transformative and is finally listening to the grassroots and is working with the grassroots.
Now, Union County, for those who don't know, is very Democratic. It's in the metropolitan New York City area.
Yes.
That's where we saw the biggest Republican growth in the last election. Huge growth in Passaic County, everything that touches the New York City metro area. Kathy Hochul's congestion tax is not popular in that area. I will tell you, as a lifelong New Yorker, it's not really popular outside Manhattan. Have you noticed any continued push from these areas? There's a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Asians, but
Yes.
have you seen this kind of continued change? What have they said to you if you've met any voters who've changed their minds?
Well, part of it is seeing the change in leadership. So, number one is Carlos Santos, clearly of Hispanic descent, is now
Mhm.
the chairman of Union County. He wasn't. He earned his way into that position. And over in Kenilworth at a VFW hall just weeks ago, we had 246 attendees in February in New Jersey
Mm,
and Union County.
it's
I think that
insane.
shows momentum and energy.
Union County, by the way, you could not get 246 there weren't 246 Republicans, let alone, I mean, 2 years ago. It is, I think Union County, I'm pretty sure, was the only county Chris Christie lost when he had his landslide in 2013. I'll look that up later. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that I'm correct. It is the only county he lost. That's how Democratic it was, despite him winning the state by 20 points. Super Democratic. I cannot believe there were 246 Republicans in a single room in the county.
Well, what we're going to do is when this clip is up there, this audio, I'm going to reply with the video of me with the 246 people behind me because you know that I like to show the work that I do. And so there's a Scott Presler video for every single event that I do. But I do want to give a shout out to Passaic County. There's a wonderful man. His name is Anthony, and he is the owner of Gun for Hire in Passaic County, New Jersey. Now, as you mentioned, there are two very critical communities that are within this county that I think are going to be decisive to our Republican candidate winning the governorship this November. And those are the Hispanic community, but especially our Puerto Ricans and our Dominicans. They are heavy in this district. And you know what gives me hope? We did a training over at Gun for Hire. We were registering people to vote. I taught voter registration. We even registered one of the workers, the young people that was getting people's waivers to go and shoot there at the establishment. And several members of the Hispanic community that are running for state assembly came over to me. These were all young Hispanic men. And it was just so cool to see that the tide is really shifting and that the Republican Party is this faith, family, finance, freedom party. And I think that is what is attracting the Hispanic community to us. But one community that we also must continue to shore up, especially after the tragedy of October 7th, is the Orthodox Jewish community. There is a lot of room for growth. And so we are making a concerted effort to get the Orthodox in Passaic registered and also over in a town called Lakewood over in Ocean
The
County.
super, super, super Jewish. They actually they voted for Trump by huge margins, and then they elected a Democrat for the state house who was a rabbi. I don't think that guy can hold on, though, because Orthodox usually have huge turnouts in off-year elections, but when everyone's voting, the numbers aren't that high. So hopefully we win back that seat, too, over
Well,
in
and
Lakewood.
Republicans were also smart, Ryan, because what we did is look, we understand the different needs of the state. The June 10th primary, New Jersey, June 10th primary, so everybody register with a party so you can vote in your closed primary. They actually moved it back a week because of the religious recognition of one of the spiritual holidays that they're having. So that
Oh.
shows me that the Republican Party is listening and they're going, wow, we can get more people to vote if we choose a date that's not on a religious holiday.
Mhm. Well, Scott, I gotta tell you, in Passaic County, usually the only reason Dominicans and Puerto Ricans would be getting together at a gun show was to shoot each other, but they're getting together for you because you are
For love.
bringing everyone together. To quote the great Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek, you have all the vigor of a wartime operator. Thank you so much for being on this show. Where can people go to get involved, get active, and join your organization?
Thank you. Well, I want to be clear. In addition to our work helping to flip the New Jersey governorship from blue to red on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, we are continuing our work in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We are going to be expanding to Nevada. And in 2026, we're going to help President Trump keep the House of Representatives. If you want to support our work financially, then I encourage you today, help me hire more staff in Pennsylvania and New Jersey and Nevada. Please go to earlyvoteaction.com. That's earlyvoteaction.com. Again, we can receive unlimited financial contributions. We also accept crypto, Ethereum, Solana. So if you would like to give us some Satoshis today, we welcome you at Early Vote Action.
Scott, you are so great. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for doing this. I know you're such a busy man. We'll hopefully speak soon, and I'll keep everyone updated on all your great work.
Thanks, Ray.